What is up, everybody? I am so excited about today. It's Memorial Day, and we have our A team coming in. We have our some of our military from TUHS getting ready to log in and chat with us a bit. And this guy that I have coming up first and foremost, I spoke with him earlier today for about 3 seconds. And I haven't seen him since high school, and there's a lot of catching up to do. And welcome to the panel, Mr. T. Baker, Travis Hutton. What's going on, man? How you doing?
What's up, dude? How are you?
You know what? I was so excited. I forgot to even put my headphones on. I was so excited to get things going today. How you doing?
Good, man. How are you?
I got you.
Cool.
Good,
cool.
man. Good. So, how's life been?
Good, man.
Been a while since I've seen you, huh?
a little bit, day or two.
Yeah, right. So where are you at now?
I'm in Lake Charles, Louisiana.
Lake Charles, Louisiana. Got you. This long jump from your stay in Taft, right? So you took off. Walk me through what happened after high school, if you could. Your military work and whatnot.
Well, I joined the Army, did 4 years there, got out, went to college for a little bit. I was enrolled in college. I didn't necessarily go all the time.
Yeah.
And then missed the military and, joined the Coast Guard and spent 20 years in that.
I've been there and done that as far as with the college angle of it, not the military, but with college angle. My dad, my stepdad is that raised me and whatnot. He was a Marine. So I kind of did military for the first 23 years of my existence until I moved out. So kind of in a weird way, but
you were a brat.
Yeah. So yeah, I have someone who wanted to jump on board. This guy wanted me to pull you in, and he were first on his list. You remember this guy, Mr. Brandon Smith? What's up, Brandon?
Oh, what's up, dude?
What's up, T? How are you, buddy?
What's going on,
good, man? How are you?
I'm doing well. You're looking good, bro. You're looking good.
Yeah, a little more salt than pepper, but
Well, that's all of us, right?
Yeah,
salt and pepper. I like that.
Yeah.
No, it's good to have you guys on today, man. I just kind of wanted to get kind of like not only of your experience, what you've had, and where did you go, whatnot, but what prompted it in the first place? Was it family? Was it? You always had that in your back of your mind of, are we all going right here? Are we all grab? Are we all?
That's our go-to.
That's a good
thought
question.
Process. Yes.
That's a good question you got there. No, I was just curious if it was family that served, or what prompted your experience.
For me, I always just had a fascination with the military, with the Army, with firearms. My dad was in Vietnam, so that kind of laid the groundwork.
Yeah.
So I really didn't know what I wanted to do after high school. So it was like, all right, I'll join the Army.
Yeah.
And loved it.
Yeah.
For the most part.
Yeah, until you left.
What's that?
You loved it when you left.
Yeah. Yeah, exactly.
How about you, Brandon? What branch did you end up getting into, and how did that whole begin?
I was U.S. Army. I went in kind of late. Most people kind of go in around their 18th, 19th birthday. I didn't go in until I was 21. I went to Taft College for a few years. Started dating Tara. We had been dating for a while, and college was not the thing for me. And ultimately, I kind of came to a conclusion that Tara was the one I wanted to marry, and in order to marry her, I needed to have a decent job. So yeah. I had three choices. I could go back to college, I could try to find a job with very little education, or join the military. So I sat down with my dad. I sat down with Tara's dad, had conversations, and ultimately both of them felt that it was probably a good thing for me to help me grow up a little bit and mature. And I agree. I think it was probably the best decision that I made in my life.
So you know what?
Outside of Mary and Tara, by the way.
Yeah, exactly. Is she in the next room?
Good save, Beef. Good save.
Thanks.
Good save. So I was curious. It's like if somebody goes into, the first day of like you suit up and you basically get the haircut and everything, and you're lining up for the first official day. Can one of you guys walk me through what that experience was like? As far as with boot camp and whatnot.
Well, we were in the Army, and it was the 90s. This is not 1980s Marine Corps, 1970s Marine Corps.
Yeah.
I think seeing all of the movies that we grew up watching, that were military based, that had scenes where there was basic training, arrival, or and when I was starting to go in, I started really focusing on reaching out to those who had been through the experience. So it wasn't really a shock to me. It may have been a little bit more of a shock for Trav than it was for me, but that was my experience. It was a bunch of people yelling at you, telling you to do stuff and hold stuff over your head for long periods of time that weighed more than you could hold for that period of time, and run here, run there, hurry up, you're not doing it right. Lots of that kind of stuff. But like I said, I was a little bit older, and for me, it was not as effective, or I can't say that. It was not as intense for me.
Yeah.
I was a little older, a little mature. I kind of understood there's a game they're playing here. I'm going along with it.
You kind of already had that mentality. You didn't have to break from your norm or whatnot, right?
Right.
My mind goes to that Full Metal Jacket type of scenes, and watching those types of movies, and you're thinking, wow, is it just like that whenever you go in, and how they have the bunkers and whatnot. What was your experience, Travis?
Well, when I joined the Army, I was 17, and I went into combat arms. One of the most vivid memories, and I forget what MOS you were, Brandon. Bomb tech, right?
Yeah, EOD.
Yep. In boot camp, we did all the stuff that Brandon, said, but it was a little more physical from the standpoint that the drill sergeants could and did lay hands on you. Like I remember one guy, puking, and I laughed while we're standing in front of our chest lockers, and the drill sergeant wheeled around, came down, and gut checked me, and then I wanted to puke. So it just depends upon where you went to boot camp at. I went to boot camp in Fort Benning, which is an infantry, more like ground pounder type school.
Yeah.
But it was funny.
Yeah, I went a little softer side.
The softer side.
What's funny? When I joined the Coast Guard, my recruiter kind of screwed me over, so I had to go back through Coast Guard boot camp, and took the plane from California. We landed in Philly, went down to Cape May, and we're all in this bus, and there's this big yoked out, I'm gonna rock this, blah 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 blah. When we pulled onto the base at Cape May, the lights were out. You just saw the company commanders with the campaign hats, and he was whimpering in the back. And I turned around and smiled.
What happened? Where's the energy, right?
What happened to the tough guy?
Yeah.
Can I curse on this?
Yeah.
Okay. So we pulled up.
I'll bleep it later, maybe, but probably not. Go ahead.
Okay. So
well, it depends on what you're going to say.
Yeah.
Say what you want, buddy.
We pull up, and the company commander gets on, and I'm turned around smiling and laughing and just, and he looks at me, he's like, what the hell are you smiling at? I'm like, that fucking pussy in the back. And he just looked at me like, the hell is this dude all about? He was like, get the hell off my bus. Like, okay, cool.
Yeah.
I've been there before. I had a blast in Coast Guard boot camp. It was like day school. You know, a lot of mental stuff, not so much physical stuff like B and I, you know, did in the Army. But it was like if you missed one test, you got one chance.
Yeah.
And after that, you're out. Yeah, so that was always kind of hanging over your head. But
was there any at any point during the whole process were you second guessing your decision, or were you just straightforward the whole time?
I was pretty confident and comfortable with my decision. I would say if there were moments through my 4 years of service, which wasn't very long, to be honest with you. There were moments where you're like, man, why did I do this? Well,
yeah.
You know, you're stuck. You can't get out.
And then you just get back to being busy again, right?
Yeah, and then you just kind of pick up everything you need to do and move on, because that's just the way it goes.
Yeah, pretty much.
So how was the graduation, and how was the coming back and seeing the regular civilians once again? Do you have a different mentality or feel behind it?
Oh man,
like coming back into town and seeing family again. I mean, was it just a shocker to come back and forth, or come back from your experience?
I don't know. I truly don't remember. I think I came back for like Thanksgiving.
Yeah.
Like right after boot camp, before I was going into AIT. You know, and I was only there for like 4 or 5 days, and yeah, then went back and went to AIT, and you know, I was back in Taft between the Army and the Coast Guard for a little bit, and then since the Coast Guard, I think I've been back once.
Yeah.
For me, I didn't come back to Taft in over a year. So I left. I had boot camp, then I went on to my first AIT, and then I went on to bomb school. Bomb school was like 8.5 months. So I was at 3 different places along the East Coast. Tara came out to see me a couple times, once in Florida and then once in Alabama when I was there. And my mom and dad came out to Alabama. So for me, it was a little different. You know, you're kind of ingrained in Army life. For me, I always say that I had a different military experience in that my job, the job that I did, was it's probably as close to being a civilian in the military as you could be. Because of the high stress that goes along with it, they didn't bother us. They let us. Yeah. Our unit was really small, so I worked in an office with, I think it was 12 other people. That was our company size. Whereas a normal company in the military, correct me if I'm wrong, Trav, but it's like 200 to 250 people for a company, right?
A company is about 30 to 40. Battalion is about 200.
Okay. So our company was really small. They when I first got assigned there, they called us a detachment. And then they turned us into a company, and there was a whole bunch of, you know, everybody was pissed off because they were changing the name of it. It didn't matter to me. It was, you know, what's in a name. But my job was as close to being civilian really as you could be. I kind of liken it to what I believe firefighters do. They go out, they clean their equipment, check their equipment out on a regular. They go do a lot of training. When a call comes in, then you go and you respond. So for me, it's kind of low stress. Whereas everybody else in the military, it's a little bit more high strung, where people are kind of babysitting you constantly and always making sure that you're lining up in lines and doing all the time. For us, it wasn't that way. It was like hanging out with a bunch of friends.
Yeah, gotcha.
You still got all digits, B?
They're all there, buddy.
There you go, baby.
What is all digits? My fingers?
And I'm still doing the work. So
yeah,
yeah. What do we need digits? You mean your fingers? Is that what you're referring to?
Yeah. How many fingers do I have? Like,
see if you lost a finger during the whole thing. Is that what you're saying?
yeah.
I'm a normal civilian. I don't know the lingo quite yet. I'm like, what are you talking about? Digits.
No, this is a bomb squad joke.
Okay, I got it. Oh, I got you.
How good of a bomb tech are you if you got all 10 fingers, all 10 toes?
You guys have a lot of different shout outs from people watching right now. With Travis, you never know. You never know with Travis, apparently. And Sean Foster wanted to see about joining. And Joiny, how do I joiny? He says he's got the big.
You got to go see your recruiter.
Beard. I know, right? Go see a recruiter. It's never too late, Sean. Never too late, man.
I think most of the people that we graduated with are well past the age limit by now. So
yeah, I think so.
You're all sorry, man. So, do you guys have any other what sticks out in your mind more than anything as far as with the stories and experiences that you guys have had? I mean, even while you were in service or out of service, from people approaching you or anything like that.
Wow. Do you want to take that one, B?
Tell me a story, Brandon.
Like
Tell me a story.
Here.
No, you're good.
Hey, Trav, why don't you? How many times were you deployed, and where were you deployed?
Well, when I was in the Army, I was deployed to Sinai twice. Went over to Somalia, Haiti. In the Coast Guard, the first ship that I was on, we went to Alaska 5 times. There were 4 boats in San Francisco. All the other 3 got to go south to like Cabo and whatnot. We went to Alaska.
Of course.
Right. So after our 5th all-pat, the captain comes out on the flight deck. He's like, "Hey, I got good news. We're not going to Alaska." Like, yay! We're going to the Persian Gulf. Oh. So we did a tour with a carrier group over to the Persian Gulf in 2001, 2002. And and then once I joined the Coast Guard after Hurricane Katrina in 2005, like I kind of found a niche for myself responding to hurricanes, like leading different units and whatnot. So I deployed to like 22 different hurricanes. Wow. The most recent were like Maria in 17 and Michael in 18. It's kind of a bitter edge or a double-edged sword. I love doing the work, but you hate seeing the people that are in distress.
Yeah.
But if you can bring a little bit of calm, understanding, a little bit of resources. It was a great job. I love my career. I wouldn't trade it for anything.
Mr. Lamar's giving a quick shout out to you boys.
What's up, John?
Johnny O. he wants to say, talking a little trash to you there. Where are you at, John? I want to see what you look like. Where are you? Where are you at? So when did you guys first meet? You guys knew each other from school way before I met up with you guys. So how old were you?
Well, I guess it was probably middle school.
Middle school. 4th, 5th grade or something like that.
Yeah. What was that school up on the hill?
Well,
Parkview
Roosevelt?
or something. Roosevelt.
Oh, Parkview.
Parkview.
Yeah, maybe.
Yeah. Yeah, I think Parkview is where you would have gone.
Yeah.
I went to Roosevelt, and while I was going to Roosevelt, we moved up to Taft Heights, so I never changed schools. I just continued to go to Roosevelt. So I think we probably met each other probably 6th or 7th grade, something around there.
Sounds right.
We
Yeah.
all played baseball freshman year of high school there for a while, right?
Yeah.
Mr. Napier. I remember Baker striking some balls in the outfield.
Oh yeah. I think I took one. One to the eye.
Yeah, probably.
Yeah.
Oh man.
I've known Brandon a long time.
Yeah.
He was always the dude who was, laughing and carefree and jolly, and just one of those type of people that people want to be around.
Yeah, you should tell my daughter that because she thinks I'm a good old man.
You should talk to go tell the kids. So, do you have any kids now, Travis? Or what's going on with your
Nope.
side
No
of
kids.
life? No kids.
No kids. Nope. Back in Louisiana, married. My wife is from Louisiana. My last duty station was up in Juneau, Alaska, and I turned down a promotion because they wanted to send me to Detroit. And when I turned it down, I either had to take what was next or retire. And I was like, 24 years, I'll retire.
Wow, 24 years. Wow. Well, appreciate you guys' service, man. That's a long time. It's amazing.
Hey, Trav, are you doing anything now that you're retired as far as work?
Yeah, I'm doing the exact same thing I did in the Coast Guard, only for a private company, making a lot more.
Making big bucks.
with no uniform, and I get to grow this.
Good for you. Good for you.
We're just waiting for you to grow your hair out too, Travis, huh? No?
Yeah, that's not going to happen. God said no to that.
He said not for you.
Yeah. You're either going to have to see me in a wig or just bald.
I think Franco's got a wig for you. He's always coming on with the wig.
Who?
Franco. Julio?
Julio.
Oh, no.
Remember Julio Franco?
Yeah.
He said he was going to chime in after a while. So funny. I don't know how many wigs he has, but he's always coming on with a different wig. I don't know.
Okay.
What?
Oh, shoot. Something happened here.
What?
You're still on, B.
Still see you.
My screen did something weird, so I don't know. Now you got to get my little tripod working.
Well, I'm going to bring someone on board here. We're just kind of creeping forward with it. We need a woman in the mix. Somebody by the name of maybe Amie Rohal. Hale. Amie, can you hear us?
Hi, guys.
Hi, Amie.
Can you hear me?
Loud and clear.
Hi.
Remember Mr. Travis Baker-Hutton? You know Baker more than Hutton.
Yep.
So how you doing today, Amie?
Doing great. Just fixed dinner. Just got off work. So
Gotcha.
Thought I'd jump on.
Well, they just went through their experiences just a little bit, and while we have you on, I'm kind of curious of what you went through and what time and branch you served.
Okay, so I'm small potatoes compared to them. I had mixed emotions about joining because I was only Army Reserve, and I was active duty 6 months, active reserve for 6 years, inactive reserve for 2 years. So I never went to Somalia like Travis. There was a time where we thought we were going, but I enlisted the year the Desert Storm ended. So really, I mean, I wish I could go and enlist today for the same reasons that I feel today. Much different than what I felt when I enlisted back in '91.
Mm-hmm.
Gotcha. So, what were your? Do you have any experiences that you want to share as far as with what you went through?
Sure. Yeah. So I went.
Tell
to
us
Fort
a story,
Leonard Wood,
Amie.
Missouri.
Tell us a story.
I went to Fort Leonard Wood, Missouri. For the first
Lost
time
in the
ever in
woods.
my So for the first time ever in my life, I was second in physical fitness out of over 300 people. So I was never athletic in school. So for me, that was huge.
Little shout out from Shane there for you. I'll throw him in there every once in a while. Go ahead. I'm sorry.
Yeah. So I did have the pleasure of also finding out that what it was like to be a minority while I was in basic training. So I went from an all white or predominantly white culture to being the minority, which was predominantly Black.
Yeah.
So that was interesting for me. Basic training was exciting for me because it taught me a lot of structure that I've carried forward into my professional career. Project management is in the backbone of everything I've done since I started in my professional career, and I attribute that to my military experience. Fast forward to Fort Sam Houston, where we trained as 92 Bravo. We trained in with the field medics, and with Navy personnel. And so that was, you know, I quickly grew annoyed at the Navy people. Navy people, no offense, but we constantly got in trouble for the Navy people.
They're the partiers.
And so it was good to see the cohesiveness of the different branches of the military working together and all learning a medical trade. So that was cool. I made friendships that I still have today.
Hey, so Amie,
through both of those transitions.
Amie,
So it was awesome.
I want to interrupt you real quick. You said that you were a 92 Bravo.
That's about the excitement. I mean, I was at Port Hueneme
for
my
everyone
drilling
else,
side, and
so for everyone else out listening, tell them what a 92 Bravo is.
Sorry.
Rod's coughing and Brandon's talking, but I can't hear him.
I'm trying to breathe my coffee. Sorry about that. Go ahead.
So because a lot of people who are listening don't know what 92 Bravo means, tell them what the job is.
What's Brandon saying?
Oh, you can't hear me?
Oh, what is a 92 Bravo if you can't hear what Brandon's saying there?
Yeah, it was a medical laboratory technician. It was decommissioned and then it's since been re-added. And when I went to GCU's graduation, some people behind me were 92 Bravos and they were infantry or something like it. So it's no longer medical.
Cool.
Gotcha. Did you have any family that was in the military, or did you have it? What was your motivation to get into the military?
Initially, it was just to escape my life in Taft.
You're anything I gotta do, right?
Yeah, just get me out of here, get me away, so I can have a clean start. And then also, it became funding for my medical career that I obviously didn't pursue. So yeah, that was it. It was totally selfish reasons. It was all about me.
As it should be.
It should be. I appreciate you guys coming on today. I know this was a random, actually was a thought by Brandon a couple weeks ago. He said, we should do a military episode, and then Memorial Day came around the corner. So I go, what perfect timing. Did you realize that? Did you think Memorial Day was coming up around the next?
No, you know what it was I saw Vic Settles come on.
Weekend.
Gotcha. And so when I saw him come on, it just all of a sudden something clicked, and I was like, man, that guy's been in the military for a long time. I think he was some sort of a doctor or nurse, emergency, some sort of trauma surgeon, maybe, I don't know.
Yeah.
But it just made me think, man, we've got quite a few people who are former military. And just, I think it was a year, maybe 2 years ago, there was a big article in the Midway Driller about Ricky Vaughn from our class that I posted to the Facebook page.
Yeah, I invited him to come on today. I'm not sure if you got my message or not, but yeah.
So I mean, I just started thinking. Then I started counting how many people that I could just come up with off the top of my head, and I knew there was more. But I mean, I was up at 10 or 12 with just a quick moment of thinking. So I just thought it would be an interesting thing to sit around, see why people joined, what they did while they were in, if they got deployed, where did they go, how it impacted their life, and for the good, the bad, the indifferent. I just thought it was something that maybe would be an interesting topic other people might enjoy, and if anyone else didn't enjoy it, I knew I would.
Gotcha.
Where's Wade?
I sent him a message. He's got to be coming.
Well, I'm just kind of creeping in. I have some more people that are jumping on board here to share their stories as well. So there's enough on the screen so we can all listen. So this is kind of cool. Remember this guy, Mr. Jeramy Garner.
Yo.
Amie, what's up, brother?
Yo.
Wow.
Amie in full effect. What's going on, man?
That's awesome.
How are you doing, brother?
I'm good, man. Still in Texas working.
Yeah.
So, blah, 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 blah.
Look at that beard.
You remember Travis Baker over here? Has it been a while?
What's up, dude?
Wow.
Are you still down in Texas, Amie?
Yes, sir.
How long are you planning on being down there before you go home?
Hopefully another month.
Oh,
look at the grandbaby.
What's up, grandbaby?
Look at the
What's
grandbaby.
up, grandbaby?
Baby.
Where in Texas are you, Hum?
San Antonio.
San
Ooh,
Antonio.
yeah, way west.
Yeah, I don't want to be here.
Yeah, but Holmes, Missouri, right?
Yes, sir. Yeah.
Humid.
Yeah.
Oh my God, it's ridiculous here.
Yeah. Well,
So,
San
like
Antonio.
seriously, 6 o'clock in the morning, I'm drenched in sweat. I'd rather be
Oh no.
out on the grinder doing PT in the Navy than this.
How long have you been there?
A month and a half.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
So we're going around the horn, and I'm kind of creeping people in every so often here to kind of hear what their angle and their stories are about, how they got into the military and a little bit about your experience and whatnot. So go ahead, Mr. Amie. You have the floor, sir.
Well, whenever I joined, I think we were still doing cleanup in the Gulf War. So luckily, I didn't see any action. I picked up a bunch of new skills as far as mechanics work. I was a CB in the Navy, so I never got on the ship, but I got to fly over there and then, do whatever. I worked on Humvee, tanks, big rigs, light duty truck, stuff like that. I got into painting a little bit, the camo and whatnot. Got to go to Spain. I was drunk. I've been with good people, and it was a great experience. It helped me grow up a little bit.
Gotcha.
A little bit.
How old were you when you enlisted?
19, I think. 20.
19.
Yeah.
Gotcha.
19. So yeah.
What was your turning point? What was your thought? I mean, what was motivated you to enlist? Was it the family or?
When I moved to New Mexico, I had a couple buddies out there that were going to the recruiters all the time, and so I started going with them, and then we both ended up joining, and now, it was a lot different than what the recruiter said. He lied to me.
They always do.
They lied to all of us.
He lied to you. I'm going to bring just one last one on board here before he ends up skating out on me here. Mr. Tommy Vega. Remember Mr. Tommy Vega? TV in the house.
What's going on,
What's
guys?
up, brother?
Hey, Tommy.
Not much, man. Just right here.
What's up, brother? How are you?
I'm doing great. How's everybody doing?
I think last time I saw you was in the quad. I think you were in the quad last time I saw you. How you doing, man?
I'm doing great. So just right here, just chilling out on Memorial Day, just at the house, getting ready to take a swim in the pool, and just thought I'd pop in and see how everybody's doing.
Nice.
Well,
nice.
Thanks
awesome.
for stopping by.
Yeah, Hum, you looking great, dude.
Thanks. You too.
Yeah. So
It's a trip being on here, seeing all you people. You know what I mean?
Exactly.
I love it.
yeah.
Okay, Travis doesn't look this. Travis doesn't look the same at all.
No.
Yeah, Travis looks completely different.
Yeah.
That?
I don't know.
I see, man.
It's an improvement, Travis. Don't worry.
Yeah, for
You're
sure.
older, filled out a little bit more. Yeah. I don't know.
Travis has been working out, huh? So tell us about some of your experience, Tommy. So what branch or for how long and what got you there, man?
Well, so U.S. Navy, and I was there probably almost 12 years. I like 17 days after I graduated, I was out to boot camp. You know what I mean?
Wow.
I said I'm out of here. I'm leaving Taft, and I'm never coming back. And And guess what? I'm in Taft right now. So.
Are you really?
Yeah.
That was my next. That was my next question. Where
Yeah.
you
So. Yeah. No. It was just something that I think I had to do. My dad was pretty strict on me growing up, and so on my 17th birthday, the day I could sign up, I was in MEPS signing up and thinking that the grass was greener on the other side and stuff. But you know what? I'll tell you what, it was the best experience I've ever had. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It made me grow up, and man, my life is just I don't know. I'm on my, I joined boot camp, went to Connecticut. I remember seeing snow there, like a large amount of snow for the first time when I had to go up to duty. It was like midnight and it was snowing, and I just remember like up to my knees in snow. I had to walk probably like half a mile in it, just to get to the building where I was doing duty, and it was just like, oh my God, what the hell? What did I do?
Yeah.
What have I gotten myself into? But yeah, and then I went to near Seattle, Washington. There's a base over there. It's a submarine base because that's what I did, submarine duty, and I was on a sub. I got married over there and had a couple kids. Got divorced over there, and then I met my wife now. She knew my uncle. My wife's from Mexico, so she knew my uncle. He was a missionary, and so we got married. We've been married 12 years, and she was up there for a while, and I just, honestly, Taft is a great place to raise kids, and and my dad, he's a pastor here at the Spanish Church, so I just always in my heart to come help him, and so that's what we did in 2012. We just uprooted. I was working for the government then, and came over here, and here I am. I was working with Chevron for a little bit. Now I'm at Era Energy, and you know what? And so I traded the freshness of Washington for the desert of California. And sometimes I kick myself in the butt saying, hey, did I make the right decision? But you know what? I'll tell you what, it's been a blessing here. You know what I mean? It's been great, so it's been really good. I love it, man. And it's good to reconnect and see everybody. You go to the football games and you see people, and it just kind of brings that hometown vibe back, and so it's funny just, going with my kids to Lincoln, or to the high school and seeing, how things were changed, hey man, this was the quad, and it's, it's way different than when I remember it. And, but it's cool, man. And it really makes you feel old, when you see all this stuff. And, when you tell kids, your kids, hey, Dad, what year did you graduate, or what year, it's like, oh my gosh, I feel old. Makes me feel old, man. So
does anybody ever cruise Center Street on a Friday night there anymore? Is that ever happen? They do.
They do.
Yeah.
They do. I was curious about that.
They
Wow.
still have the cruise nights, and they open up the some of the shops, the businesses open up for and the Lions Club they have a trailer, and they open up and they do tri-tip and stuff. Of course, it's kind of slowed down with all the pandemic and stuff, but
yeah.
Hey, it'll never be the same as when we did it. You hear me?
Heck no, it won't be. Never be the same, and we were up the other day at 25 Hill up there, and I showed my kids up there, and it reminded me, I can't remember what year it was. I think it was our junior year, the last day, when West Souls and who was it? It was I can't remember, but they went up there to fight the last day of school up there, and and I just remember that, like it was like an uneven fight, and after that, they shook hands and we all took off, and it was just crazy. You go up there and the memories just kind of,
That was before the UFC, huh?
Before UFC, man. I should have took some stock right there.
I know, UFC, you should have laid down some bets or something.
I know, man.
Hey, Tommy, you said you were on a sub.
It's good, man.
What did you
Life's
do?
Good, so.
Hey, Tommy, can you hear me?
Yeah, it's funny, Tommy. People, when we talk about Taft, we're like, "Hey, we grew up in Taft. We like to fight."
Yeah.
I can remember fist fighting boys in Valley Acres where I grew up, and then it was over with. You went and played just like that. But today it's like, "Oh no, we're going to get their
just gotta
mom,
get
or
that
we're going to get
energy
their
out of
attorney."
you.
Exactly.
Yeah, just fight it out.
Get it out.
I think
Yeah.
Amie might have
I
punched me
think
once
that's
or
how you
twice.
found your best friend. You fought him. You
Sorry,
know what
Travis.
I mean? So,
Hey, Tommy, can you hear me?
but yeah, I mean, it's good, man. And you know, Taft's Taft. You know what I mean? It's still Taft, and you know, it hasn't really grown too much, and
Hey, Tommy, what'd you do on the sub, man?
the score just changed, you know, from Lucky's to Albertsons. You know what I mean?
Can't hear you either, Trav.
Hey,
Yeah.
Tommy, can you hear Travis or Brandon?
I don't know.
What's that?
Hey, Tommy, can you hear me?
I
Can you
can't
hear
hear
me?
Brandon. No,
Okay.
No.
Hey, can you hear me?
or Travis.
Well, tell you what, Tommy, I'm gonna pull you out just for a quick second. We have someone's gonna pull in, and maybe we're gonna readjust your audio to come back in so you can hear everyone. Sound good, man?
Sounds
All right,
good.
brother. But stay on board in the lounge. I'll bring it back in a quick second. This guy has been sitting in the lounge for quite a while, and I know you guys would love to all see this guy. So I'm gonna go ahead and pull out Tommy. Tommy, hang out though, brother. We'll bring her back on. All right.
Sounds.
All right, brother. All right. I barely recognize who this is, but it is Mr. Phil Vickers.
Oh, it's
with
Phil
the
Vickers.
Phil Vickers.
What's up, Philip?
What's going on, guys?
How are you, brother?
Your beard's like Jeremy.
Not quite.
Not
Not
really.
Not quite.
He's got the way
I think Phil's gone
A
Amish.
bearded man.
Yeah, this is through the quarantine. Kelly's not too thrilled with it, but you know, we'll see how that goes.
Yeah,
So what's
sure.
everybody up to, man?
Hummy's
Are
got
you Amish?
rug on top of his chest.
Not even close, Brandon.
And then some.
So what
I'm
branch,
the only
Phil?
not bearded person in there, so I'm
I know,
sorry.
huh?
I mean, maybe I need to hang up and let a bearded person join.
I just got the whiskers.
You can stick around,
Yeah.
Amie.
So what branch, Phil, and for how long, and what got you there, man?
I was in the Navy for 2 years, right out of high school. I think it was like November. As when I went in, stationed down in San Diego. I was one of the last companies to go through, and before they shut that down, and then I was stationed in Miramar for my whole time. Basically, I was supposed to go to Virginia, and then they changed that up and said, "Nope, you're not going to Virginia. You're going to stay right here in Miramar." So that's where I was at the whole time, and then did a 6 months Westpac.
Is that Kimmy?
Was that?
Yeah, it's Kimmy.
Oh, it is Kimmy.
What's up,
Kimmy?
They said I. So yeah, I did a Westpac to Japan and Hong Kong, Singapore, some of those other places over there, Australia. Too much fun, man.
Oh yeah, Australia.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
That was that had been probably the most fun I had was Australia. Met a lot of people down there, and just had a totally different experience than I've had here. So it's good. It was a good trip, but when the time came to re-up, it was during that Clinton era, and they're saying shut it down. So they didn't want to give me what I wanted for where I wanted to go. So I just called it quits.
Hey, so Phil, you said you went to Australia.
Yeah.
So did they do I think they call it, what is it, a shellback ceremony?
Yeah. You have to go through the whole shellback process when you cross the equator. It's a whole hazing deal. They put you through a bunch of shit, and basically it's an initiation deal. So
what I'm aware of, there's two different things, right? There's being a shellback, and then there's one other. What's the other one?
The other one is golden shellback, and that's not I guess not a lot of people get that, because in order to get that, you have to cross right where the equator and the prime meridian meet, But you have
okay.
to be a shellback before you can even get that. So on my way down to Australia, I became a shellback, and then on our way back, we crossed at that point, and I became a golden shellback. So
Nice.
So is there something like something big, like you guys jump in the water? What, like?
no. So I was on a carrier. I was on the Carl Vinson, and I don't know if you've ever seen the engine pods or the containers that those engines come into. They're pretty big in size, and they fill them up with water and food and sludge and just whatever else. You got to crawl through those, and
Yeah.
it's just a mess, man. It's a lot of yuck.
So
But,
was it the same for you, Trav, in the Coast
Oh
Guard?
yeah. The cutter that I was on, we circumnavigated the globe, and there's the shellback. There's one other one where you cross, like in the Pacific, and I forget what the hell it was now. We had this swarthy little Italian dude who had been on board for like 3 years, and we had to eat a cherry out of his belly button, like this nasty, hairy. Yeah. Oh yeah.
That's
Well,
not a good body shot, man. That's
So
not a good
how
body
many
shot.
people were on the boat that you were on, Trav?
About 160. 160.
And
Yeah.
Phil, how many for you?
close to 5,000.
Yeah, I was gonna
It's a
say.
little bit different.
Yeah, it was well, you had a lot of newbies on there too, so it was real crowded. Pretty much by the time you got done, you're throwing all your clothes off the back of the boat, and you're pretty much it. You know, you're shellback, and go back to work after that. It wasn't you go get cleaned up and go back to your duty. So it was a lot of fun, man. I got to see a lot of the world and get out, and like Tommy was saying earlier, just getting out of Taft was a thing. You know, it's just get out and get gone and see where the world takes you. And I'm like you, Tommy. I wound up coming back and then got out again, and then I married Kelly, and I'm back.
Hey, Tommy, can you hear Brandon and Travis now?
I think so, yeah.
See?
Yeah, you can hear us now?
I'm not a good IT man, but it's just change the batteries or reboot. It almost works every time. I don't
Turn
know.
it off, turn it back on.
Yeah, just try again.
Hey,
guys.
So
Hey,
Tommy,
man,
I was trying to ask. Go ahead, Hummy. Sorry.
I got to get off, man. It's time for me to call my wife.
Hey, tell Mama hello.
Yeah, hey, man. I thank you guys for your service, and God bless you guys, man. Keep it
Good to
up.
see
Right
you,
back at
Hummy.
you, brother.
Be safe,
Take
brother.
it easy.
Be well, Hummy. Be
Be
safe.
back. Thanks,
Yeah.
man.
Later.
Later, brother. Boom, back to 4.
Hey, so Tommy, I was asking because you served on the sub. What did you have a specific job? I mean, I'm sure you did, but what was your specific job on the sub?
So I was an electronics tech for navigation. So what we did is we had these inertial navigators, basically, that we put position to them initially dockside, and as we moved, these navigators updated our position because we were underwater, right? We couldn't, get GPS or anything at that time. So these navigators kind of told us where we were at, and so it provided two purposes. It to provide position of the ship, and also I was on a nuclear sub, and so we had missiles, and so it provided the missile the initial position of where we were at. Because once that missile launched, it would go up and look for a star to align itself, and then it would use celestial navigation after that to get to his destination. So,
Wow.
Very
so
cool.
that's what I did. Yeah, it was pretty cool stuff. So, really cool. It was just at first, to get bottled up inside and everything like that, but after that, man, it was really good. So.
And about how many people were on the sub with you at any given time?
About 110 people were on board, and we were on the bigger subs. So I was on a Trident submarine.
Wow! So you guys had plenty of room then.
You know what? Even though it was a bigger submarine, it was still small. You know what I mean? It wasn't. The thing is that we didn't have to hot rack, which I don't know if you know what that means.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, hot cotton.
Yeah, so you know, one guy.
What is that? I'm just a civilian. I didn't do military time, so
That-
I represent everybody else who didn't do any military time. What is that?
Well, that's just when basically there's not enough beds on the ship, and as you know, one person's leaving to go do their job, another person jumps in that bed, you know, to take that position, and it's nice and hot for you, you know,
Yeah.
when you leave. So,
Gotcha. Would have not known that.
yeah.
Gotcha, man. Yeah.
So,
oh,
definitely an experience, man. So yeah, I mean, it was definitely something else. It made me grow up, and it made me appreciate, you know, all the hard work and, man, everything that my dad did for us. So it's cool, man. And man, it's just awesome to see you guys and you know, be able to connect and you know, just hear your guys' story. It's pretty good, man.
Speaking of voices, every time I hear your voice, it takes me back to high school.
Right?
Really?
It's like your voice has not changed one bit.
Right?
Your accent, everything. It's exactly the same.
Well, I you know, and I got a little bit of white hair, and once it starts getting white, I know it's time for a haircut. So
there you go.
Like when it was quarantine time, man, I had a hat on all the time, man. My wife's like, cut your hair, find somewhere to cut your hair, you know, go underground, go cut your hair somewhere. So, yeah.
So someone's out calling for Wade in the house. Where's Wado? Toya's asking where Wade is. He was talking about maybe coming on today.
Yeah, he's a slacker.
He's a slacker. Lack of discipline. Lack of discipline, that guy.
He moved to Arizona, didn't he, or something like that?
New Mexico.
Michigan.
New Mexico.
Oh, New Mexico.
He's in New Mexico now, Trav.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
New Mexico.
Yeah, he was like in Indianapolis or Indiana. Then he was up in Michigan, and then he finally ended up in New Mexico.
No,
He's been there for almost a year, I think, now.
He wanted to come to the desert, but not to Taft, huh?
Yeah.
The Taft Desert. Hey, guys, I got to go check on my wife real quick, but I'll be right back. I'm sure you guys have a lot to talk about, but I'll be right back, okay? Cool, man.
All right, tell your wife hi.
I will. I'll be right back.
All right. Hey, so I talked to Tommy a little bit about what he did. Phil and Trav, why don't you guys tell us what you guys did?
Go ahead, Travis.
Okay. In the Army, I started off as a field artillery, forward observer. And after about a year and a half of that, because we were in wartime, like I got sick of carrying 40 pounds of radio on my back. So I lateraled over to the infantry because I was like, well, shit, if you're going to let me down, give me 40 pounds of bullets. Yeah, exactly. Exactly. So when I joined the Coast Guard, after I got off the ship, I became a marine scientist. After doing that for 4 years, like oil spills, stuff like that, I got into marine inspections just because I like to be a wrench. I like to weld, and have done that for 14 years. My last 14 years in the Coast Guard, and still doing it now on the outside.
Very cool.
That's awesome.
Well, for me, I really didn't go very far, honestly. I worked on the line shack, which is basically launching aircraft. So my squadron was F-14 Delta Tomcats. Pretty awesome jets, man. I mean,
yeah,
they're pretty impressive. So what we did is I was just a brown shirt, so they just, turd shirt, whatever. But yeah, we were basically assigned to an aircraft, and each of the aircraft has a number on it. And so what we would do is go out, check the aircraft over, make sure there was no missing bolts or screws, cockpit was clean, and just check the oils and all that kind of stuff. Just make sure that bird was in tip-top shape. And then from that point, when the officers would come out, we'd have to salute, get them in the aircraft, start up the motors, and make sure the flaps and everything was working, and then pass them off to the white shirts that would come along, and they would do the inspection elsewhere on the line on the CAT, or ready for the CAT. And then the red shirts would come in after them, and they would check all the ordnance and pull pins and make sure everything's good to go, and then back to the white shirts, and they'd launch them. So it's just flight deck stuff mainly. It wasn't all that glamorous, but I didn't have to carry around fuel lines or none of that stuff, so that was pretty cool. But that was my job, 12-hour shifts in and out, just catch them and send them out, you know.
Hey,
So-
but still, you know, I mean, you know what, everybody together, you know, collaborating and everything is what makes everything work. You know what I mean?
For sure.
It's because without one person, I mean, even on boards, you know, like the sub, you know, somebody as high as the CO, or, you know, somebody as low as the cook, you know, if the cook didn't, you know, messed up on the food, you know, we all, you know, we're paying the price, you know what I mean? So I think all that together is you know, is the teamwork and stuff. So what about you, Brandon?
I was in the Army 4 years. I was my technical job was called explosive ordnance disposal. I was a EOD tech, or a bomb squad guy. I did that for, I mean, technically I did it for 3 years because the first year was all schooling. But yeah, I mean, think of what a bomb tech does, and that's what I did. Nothing extraordinarily special.
Other than the fact that you could blow yourself up at any particular given day.
Yeah. But it's just like any other job. That's the way I always try to explain. Is once you receive the training on whatever job it is that you do, and that's like, you know, Phil kind of trying to make his job sound like it wasn't important. Well, like Tommy said, it is. Every single job in that cogwheel line, you know, is important. Yeah, it is epic, Ryan.
Thank you.
For those of you who do you guys remember Ryan Miller?
Yes.
That's who that was. He goes by Ryan James on Facebook, but shout out to the Navy SEAL there.
Hey, too bad he wasn't on with Amie, huh?
Yeah, no kidding.
Yeah.
he would have saw Hummy's beard, and man, he wouldn't have known what to do.
Right, he wouldn't even see me.
No, but I think it's one of those things. It's one of those things that when you do it, it's not that big of a deal. You've trained for it, you've experienced it, and it becomes just a job.
Right.
And so that's kind of how it is for me. I always felt like, to be honest, I didn't. Oh, Wade's talking about getting on in a minute. Cool.
That's awesome.
I always felt like what I did was not a big deal. I was very fortunate in that at the time I didn't think it was fortunate. I did a lot of training, did some live devices here stateside, but never got deployed. At the time, I was extremely frustrated because all of the training that I did, I wanted to go overseas, go to war, and be a bomb tech in the middle of the war. And I never got that opportunity. So when I got out, I was kind of frustrated. I always felt like my service didn't matter. What I did was just take a seat for a little while. But as I've gotten older, I matured a little bit more. I'm actually grateful that I didn't have to go to war and have to experience that and have some of the, you know, potential. None of us know how it would affect you until you're in it and you're through it. So, you know, I could have come out the other side and been completely screwed up. My life forever changed. Who knows? Maybe I get through it and no problem. Maybe I don't. But as a wiser, older person now, as we all are, I hope, I'm actually grateful that I didn't have to go to war.
Right.
Although I did enjoy my time, I'm proud of my service. I don't look back on my service as being useless. It actually taught me a lot. Kind of created me to be the man that I am today. Although, you know, my parents had a lot of responsibility in that. The military does mature you, makes you responsible for who you are. Oh, look at this guy.
What's up, guys?
Oh, look.
What's up, guys?
A twofer. A twofer.
Twofer.
All right, Ryan Miller and Wade Smith in the house, otherwise
What's
known
happening?
as Lance.
Hey guys,
What's
I got like a
up?
double.
What's going on?
I got some kind of double echo going on. Hold on.
All right, so are you listening? Are you listening on your phone and your headphones?
Oh no, hold on.
Just listen to one of them.
Wade, what's up with that
So-
Green Bay Packer? I thought you were a Seahawks
Oh,
fan.
I'm at somebody else's house,
Oh.
man. I'm at a friend's house, so they're a house divided. It's half Green Bay, half Seattle.
Yeah,
So
okay.
Hey, so
What-
Wade, I don't know if you've been
Excuses.
watching. We've just kind of been talking a little bit, kind of just saying a little bit for everybody that's watching out there. What branch of service were you in? How many years did you do? What was your job? And don't give me, your MLS title. Give me the actual job so people can understand what it is and how it affected you. If you want to tell a story, then go for it, and then we'll let Ryan jump in on his.
yeah,
Everybody knows Ryan was a CEO.
I'm not much of a story guy, but that we'll leave that up to the resident SEAL here on the panel. But
He's got all kinds of stories.
so I did 10 years, actually 11 years, because I went. I was on stop loss. 9/11 happened, so I was on stop loss till the beginning of 2003. So that put me right at 11 years. I was what's called a. Can you guys hear me all right?
Yep.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. So I was a combat engineer, so I got to blow shit up. Look for landmines,
I
that
didn't know
kind of
that's
stuff.
what you did.
Yeah,
You're a
I got to look
faker.
for landmines, and I was stationed all over. So Virginia, South Carolina, Texas, and then no sooner. So I joined February of our senior year.
Yep.
So, and then I left September right after the summer is when I took off and left. And then no sooner in 93, I wasn't at my duty station 2 months and they shipped me to Somalia. So I turned 19 in Mogadishu.
Happy birthday.
Yeah. I heard the tail end of what Brandon was saying a little bit. When I look back on it, it was cool back then, right? I mean, that's why you join the military. You get to blow shit up. You get to see, war, I guess you call it. But it's a lot different being there in the middle of the shit once you're there. But I had fun, man. My role there, I got selected like a month after I got to Somalia to work for the Brown and Root civilians. So I was personal security for 5.5 months, going out the wire with them to the Brown and Root guys or the civilian contractors doing all the generators, showers, lights, all that kind of stuff. The government contracts out for all that stuff. So we got to just be their personal security guard. So great experience, learned a lot, saw a lot. The one thing I think that I learned the most is being in a third world country like that is how I realize why the rest of the world hates us. I mean, that sounds kind of shitty saying that, but we as Americans are very arrogant, spoiled, and entitled, and you don't realize that till you're somewhere else across the world and seeing how other people live. So I learned a lot from that, and then I came back, and then I went to Guantanamo Bay in 95 when the Cubans and Haitians were migrating through Guantanamo Bay. So that was a phenomenal time too. You got to meet doctors and lawyers and, all these people that are living, in a communist society, and they are of the highest echelon, that we would consider here. And these poor people are doing everything they can, risking their lives to get to America just to start over. It was just great stories, absolutely amazing people. and I had a cush job, man. I drove for a full bird colonel and didn't do dick, man. They actually brought in so they had all the Navy civilians went back to the States. So I was living in Navy housing and driving a full bird. And then what they did for the Army was they brought in a fully staffed cruise ship and docked it in Guantanamo Bay. And the Army boys lived on a ship. It was pretty cool. So just fishing, playing ball, played a lot of ball with a lot of the Cubans, and it's kind of it, man. I mean, I guess the one thing is I have what's the best way to put this? When Gentry and Rod and I were talking about, this panel and doing all this, my wife thinks it's crazy. She has absolutely no concept of why we would be this close. Our classmates. She goes, that was 30 years ago. Why do you still talk to these people? And
it's Taft.
Well, yeah, people don't understand that, man. I mean, if you don't know, you don't know, right? And I told her, I said, well, because there's like 5 guys I'm still like, we talk all the time and together all the time for the military. And as a matter of fact, how I ended up in Albuquerque was one of the guys I was in the desert with back in Somalia. He lives here. So when I was going through job interviews and flying out, he's the one that really convinced me to come here. And it's like that brotherhood. And the cool part of it is we're in a different group, right? We're the 1%. We're the 1% from our own classes that decided to go do something different. And you add the fact that we already have this camaraderie from being from Taft too, right? It's a brotherhood of like no other. We might all give each other shit. You Navy boys were kind of like the military.
It's not my fault you're dumb enough to join the Army.
I just didn't have the balls like you did, Miller. Go for it.
I guess that's a good introduction to the silk panty wearing, knife wielding frogman, Mr. Ryan Miller. Welcome aboard, Ryan.
Yes.
Good to see you guys. Hey, they weren't silk though.
And are you wearing your silkies right now?
No, but I did find an old
Stand up.
pair.
Show us your silkies.
Okay. No, funny. I found an old pair of UDT shorts. Those Navy swim trunks.
Right.
Oh my.
Yeah,
oh my God, dude.
How'd they fit?
The ones that the girls wore in the Nair commercials.
Yeah.
No, those khaki looking like shorty shorts.
Yeah, we wear short shorts.
Oh, dude,
and there wear short shorts.
I was gonna try to put them on, but I couldn't even get a leg through one hole. So that's how small they were. So I gave them to my son. Good to see you guys, man. Phil, that beard is epic. I'm jealous.
Hey, can you guys hear me?
Yeah,
we can hear you. You can't hear Ryan?
No. He
can't hear you, Ryan.
Getting really weird. So
Tell him I said hi.
He said hello.
I hear you now.
All right, so go ahead, give us a little bit, Ryan.
Okay, so
hold on just a quick second. So a lot of people, Rodney started this. I think this is like the 10th one, maybe. And when he started this, it was kind of like a 1990 class of 92 kind of reunion type, deal. And then next thing Shane Gentry pops his head up, and he's from, I believe, the class of 90. And you're actually from the class of 89, if I recall.
Yeah.
Okay. So for those of you who were class of like 94, you may not have ever met Ryan, but he was one of the guys that went through Taft High.
Yeah.
Super diver for the Taft High dive team, and he played other sports too. But I think diving was the one that really stood out to a lot of people about you.
My record is still standing right now.
I bet.
Didn't they tear all that stuff down though?
No, the records are there, but they pulled like the things we signed.
Those are all
the T's.
Yeah, but winning's winning, so records are records. They don't fall.
There you go.
Oh my goodness, Ryan! The Navy SEALs didn't make you humble, did it? You're still as cocky as ever.
Only to you guys. I can get away with it.
So
I got other people I have to fight and stuff. I don't want to fight anymore.
So I got a funny story about Ryan Miller. The first time I met him, it was
Oh shit!
me.
Here we go.
It was me and Dodson were walking our first day of football practice, our freshman year, and we were walking down the road that goes right behind the cafeteria that you can go down to the gym, right? So me and Dodson are just walking, and up pulls honking his horn in a white El Camino. And get in, fuckers, is what you hear. And it's Miller yelling at us to get in the car and go. And ever since then, I was like, okay, this guy's kind of cool. So, and I didn't know any better. So that was...
Where did we go? Where did I take you?
To practice. You just drove us down to the gym.
Oh, okay.
Oh, wow. What a nice guy.
Yeah, well, it sounds like
I would have dropped you at 25 Hill.
No. It was the fact that he was a senior and he talked to me, so I just felt privileged.
I felt bad for you. That's what it was.
Yeah,
because you were a skinny little guy back then.
And then I got another Miller story. So he obviously continued to give me crap, and him and I were both home on leave at the same time. And you came over to the house trying to get me to go skydiving.
Oh, yeah.
And I said, not no, but yeah. I was like, not no, but hell no. I wasn't going skydiving with you. And you called me you called me every name in the book because I wouldn't go with you.
And then you tried to give us a quick rundown of when you went in, what kind of prompted you to join.
So, okay, here goes a long story. I was in ROTC my first year, and I figured out I couldn't fly jets because my eyes were too bad. So, a bunch of guys at ROTC are like, hey, we went to SEAL training this summer. You should try that. Like, all that SEAL stuff, like, this is like 89, 90. So
ROTC where?
UCLA. I was at Northridge, but my unit was in UCLA. So this is back when, like, SEAL was still a legend. Like, oh, it's a SEAL thing. No one really knew anything about it. So that summer, I went down to San Diego, went to Mini Buds as a midshipman. And then in the middle of that, the Gulf War started, the first one. And so I went back to school that year, dropped out, enlisted in 92, went through boot camp, went through A school. No, it was 91. Got to San Diego in 91 in October, classed up in 92, went straight through. We had 90 start, 18 originals graduated at the end. And
so you didn't get rolled back?
No.
That's
close.
Impressive.
Every phase I had something close. Like first, during Hell Week, I threw up blood the fourth night, so that was fun. They pulled me out early. Second phase, I had to try it through pool comp when they almost got drowned like 4 times. That was awesome. Third phase, I almost failed land nav. So, and then
I like how you say all this stuff. Yeah, that was awesome. You know, I almost died. That was awesome.
Well, it's fun now.
Yeah.
Then, not so cool.
Yeah.
Well, it's kind of all of us, right? You went through something. At the time, it sucked. It was grueling. You hated every moment. But 10 minutes after it's over, you look back and you go, yeah, I survived. That wasn't too bad.
Oh, no, that was like probably the worst thing I've ever been through in my life. Until I got pepper sprayed in the police academy. That was the next second worst thing in my life.
Yeah, that's a rough one.
No, so
continue on. Sorry.
Also, with pool comp, if you don't know it, you have your scuba tanks on and you crawl on the bottom of the 9-foot section back and forth, and the instructor comes down, and it's a progressive series of, like, first they just pull your mask off and your regulator out and turn off your air, and you got to solve these problems, and it gets progressively worse and worse till they have the knot at the end called the whammy knot that you can't get out, and you have to go through a procedure while you're on one breath hold to go through all your stuff and come up before you pass out, basically. So with mine was, I reached back to pull the line, and it pulled out. It was a double hose regulator, So when I pulled it, it pulled the exhalation. So the bubbles started coming out of the hose from the mouthpiece. So I'm like, so I started breathing off like the tube and trying to. I had like, no. They say if you get air, you get air.
Oh, okay.
So I started trying to. I had the tanks wrapped around I was like hugging it and trying to breathe through this like half water, half air thing, and I was trying to undo my knots. And the instructor taps me in the head. I'm like, oh man, I mean, I failed. So I came up, and he looks at me and he's like, he puts the thing back together, and he like shoved it back in my mouth, and he's like, get down. I'm like, oh, all right, cool. So I go back down, and he hits me again, and I yank it out again, and I'm breathing on it, and he comes. It's funniest thing. He just kind of floats down in front of me, and he's like sitting like this, like staring at me, and he's like, hmm? I'm like, I'm like,
I'm good.
yeah, I'm like mildly panicking, but and then he comes back down and he looks at me. I take a really good breath, and he takes the hose away, like turns it off, ties it knot, goes quick, like hands it back to me. So I undo it, turn on the air, and I start sucking on this thing again. He comes back down, and he goes like that, and the knot is about this big, and hands it back to me. And I'm like, I can't get into it. And there's a signal he gives, like, okay, I can't get it. And he comes down and he taps me in the head again. I'm like, oh, I did it. So I put on my shit away and come up, and he's like, yeah, it's a really good job. They didn't panic down there. I'm like, thank God, because I had one more. I had one more shot after that, and I was gone. So.
You said no chance of wanting to do that again, right?
Oh, like the first 2 times, it was. I thought I was gonna die, man. It sucked.
Yeah.
So from there, I went to jump school in Benning. Go Army. Hoo. Wade, your nasty leg. Where'd he go? Oh. They went to SEAL Team 1 in San Diego. I did 2 platoons there. We went to Guam. So did Westpac, basically. We go to Guam. We went to Thailand, Philippines, Korea.
Oh, so you were in the rough area.
Yeah. So in the 90s, being a SEAL, you get to figure out where all the good bars are. So. And
yeah,
then
that's true.
Came back, got married, went back to Guam to the unit with my wife and my newborn. Spent 2 years there, made 1 more son because there's nothing better to do in Guam besides make babies. So came back with 2 kids. Went to Virginia Beach for 2 years. About ready to get out, but they needed instructors back on the West Coast. So we moved back to San Diego, where I was a advanced training instructor for SEAL qualification training. So guys would...
So at BUDS?
No, so they get through BUDS, and then they end up doing consolidating all the advanced training to the center there.
Okay.
So they would go... It used to be like you go through BUDS, you go to your team, you go through SEAL qualification training, and then you go to your platoon. Well, now they made it so you go to BUDS, you stay at the center, you go to SQT with us, and then you go to your team.
Oh, okay.
So I was there for 3 years. I helped develop a lot of the curriculum that we did there. After 2 years, we ended up giving them their tridents after they go to their teams. That was a big deal because all the commands were like, that's bullshit. You can't give them all the old schools thinking. But we were like, no, man, we're testing them on everything, and if they pass us, they're qualified. And then ended up getting out. Moved back here and became a cop in 2008. Got hurt. Went to work for the cruise ship companies, and now that's over. So got let go by Princess last week.
Yeah. It'll come back, man.
Yeah, but not with me. So by the time it comes back, it'll be a couple of years, I bet, before they use my job again, because they gutted almost every department.
Wow.
It's all good. Me. So that's my life in a nutshell.
Well, very good. So anybody have any good stories from their time?
Ooh, man.
I got a story. We
I got a sub story. After you, I got a sub story. I got
a
sub
story too. So
okay.
Go ahead.
Yeah. Oh, okay. Me or you?
So
guys,
we were.
go ahead.
Doesn't matter. I'll let you go. Go ahead.
Okay, so we go on subs every once in a while. We do sub ops. So one time, so a sub came out in Guam, one of the fast attack boats. So our sister platoon went on there before we did, and they come back and they're like, by the time we got on there, the crew was like kind of hostile towards us. We're like, what the fuck, man? We just got here. What do we do? Like, we didn't eat all your food yet. And they're like, yeah, well, the other guy, like, so all these SEAL, we're in the torpedo room. That's where we all hung out because there's no room there. And this one guy would come around and he's like whispering something to each team guy, and he'd move on to the next guy. He'd say something, and about 4 guys down, they're like, look at this guy. About the 5th guy, they grab this seaman and just start kicking the shit out of him. I mean, like one guy like totally just like ball rubbed his face, like all that stuff. And they're like, they come like, what did he do? He's like, well, his guys bet him that he'd go up to every SEAL and say, I eat seals for breakfast. I eat seals for breakfast for like $100 or something. And they just pummeled this kid. Like, they stuffed him in a rack all taped up and shit. And they're like, all right, guy, here you go.
See,
So
these are the stories that I thought I was going to get the whole time. I thought this was the type of stories we just constantly be hearing from you guys. Huh?
Well, you gotta lead in. You can't just lead with that. You gotta ease.
Yeah, ease into it. That's perfect. How you doing, Ryan? How you been, man?
Good, buddy. How you been?
Good.
This is cool, dude.
I just finally poked back in here. I'm kind of in and out on this little show. So
is it not hot enough where you are right now? You got to wear a hat.
It's my comfort. It's like my socks. I put it on my head, and I don't know what I have this infatuation thing with.
Like a blankie for your head.
I don't know. Makes my headphones stay on a little better, I think.
It's 100 degrees in Bakersfield right now. I don't know where you guys are. It's hot as fuck.
I think it's 72 today. I think it's 72 over here. So.
Oh.
So what I miss?
You know what SEAL stands for in a submarine?
Sure. What's that?
SEAL stands for sleep, eat, and lay around when you're on the sub. Because there's nothing better to do. Sit there and eat.
Tommy V, is this true? Is this true, Tommy V?
We did eat good on the sub, I'll tell you that.
Oh yeah.
We had like the halfway nights where we had lobster and all that stuff, and like my little story, we had a swim. You know, we got to swim off the coast of Hawaii. You know what I mean? Steel Beach, and that was pretty cool. We had some old flares, and they were supposed to call the the Coast Guard and people around to let them know, hey, we this old flares that we got to get rid of because they're expired. Well, somebody forgot the call, and so they're throwing out red flares. And they see this sub, docked off of Maui, you know what I mean? Not moving, you know what I mean? So they're thinking, everybody's coming to help and everything like that. And it's just somebody forgot to let them know that we're shooting off old flares. So you got,
bring beer.
Flares,
bring
flares.
beer.
Yeah.
You could take the man out of Taft, but not Taft out of the man, right?
That's right.
We did sub ops off of Hawaii. There used to be an old boomer submarine they converted for SEAL ops. So they put these big, like looks like a big garage kind of thing on the back of the sub, and so it's called a dry deck shelter. So we would be able to, they just fill it up and we'd all just swim out of it, and the guys would usually there's an SDV as like a mini sub in there. But they took it out for us, and they would just like have our boats, and they would inflate them, and they would go up, and we would swim out after them, and they would bring it back down.
Through a missile tube, right?
We would climb up the missile tube into the dry deck shelter. And so the coolest thing ever, because the water is so pristine there. So you go up, right, and you get outside this garage, you're breathing on scuba, and you look around, and all you see is the sub. And you go up, and you look down, and it's just this massive thing below you. You're like,
that's cool.
And you can't even see below that. You're like, okay, if I go down, I'm pretty fucked. But that's pretty fucking cool. And
I was just gonna say, I want to tell my little Ryan story right quick. When I first saw you, you were on.
Does everyone have Ryan stories? Jesus Christ!
I have a Ryan story.
I'm getting nervous. I'm getting scared.
I saw you do you're doing your diving right after school. And that was where I was contemplating maybe try to figure out how to do the diving thing, because I was always like, well, there's probably at a level now that I can maybe try it out. Then I saw you do it. I go, well, I guess I'm not trying out for the diving team. You were like amazing. I remember seeing you jumping off the thing. Go, man, I'd rather just sit sidelines. I'm not even. I mean, I don't think I would have made it as a diver. Not even close. I can maybe do a backflip, but I just wanted to say, man, I remember seeing you diving, and I was like, holy shit! So that's what it's a diver's the diving team's all about. You know what I mean?
Oh, thanks, man. I remember one time we had like divisionals or one of the big meets were there.
Yeah.
And so I'm on the high board and I kind of look up one time and I see like all the girls' PE classes were out there. I'm like, what the fuck is going on? Then like more classes are coming in.
Yeah.
I'm sitting there. I'm like,
you got an audience today or what? Huh?
Dude, like the stands are full of people, like both PE classes and like who was it? I think Napier brought his science class down. Napier's like, hey, we're gonna talk about waves today. Let's go watch the divers make waves. We're like,
it's a good way to hold their attention, right?
Oh, I was just like, hope I don't fuck up now. That's gonna suck.
All right, guys, I'm logging out. I'm gonna go swimming. So
TV going
my
swimming.
girls out here.
All right, brother.
I'll see you
Thanks
guys.
for stopping by, man.
Hey, take care, you dirty squid.
All right.
Hey,
yeah.
We're gonna do this again on Saturday, Tommy V. If you want to stop by, just so you know, throwing it out there. All right, brother.
All right.
Good talking to you, brother.
Good to see you, buddy.
See you, man.
All right, see you guys.
Tommy V in the house.
I got one more sub story if you want it.
Go for it.
So it's so boring for the SEALs on board because we have like literally have nothing to do. They just got to take us around before we have to go out. But on these big subs, you know, they have they're like after dinner's done, they have like movies and shit. So we're down watching movies one time, and there's like this big steel beam pole right in the middle of it, and we're cleaning up. And one of the sub guys like, hey, don't bump into that pole. The sonar guys get really mad. And we're like, and my buddy's like, this one, and kicks it as hard as he fucking could. And we're like, and like not even like 2 minutes later, some guy comes running down with headphone marks on his ears, head still. And he's like, he sees us, we're just standing there. And like, he can tell we're the SEALs. He's like, hey, did someone kick that thing? We're like, no, man, what are you talking about? Because apparently on the sub, like they can, sonar guys can hear like everything. And so they know if the sub's making noise. Like, he's like, the other divers on board said they get so bored, they go find somewhere way back in the sub and just like start with a wrench. It's like bang on something, like ding, 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 ding.
Just to drive them crazy.
Oh, it drives them fucking nuts.
Yeah, I don't hear anything. You hear anything? I don't hear anything.
Oh, but he kicked that thing and went boom. We're like, and that dude come running down. He's like, I mean, he literally had headphone marks like on his ears, like he just ripped them off and like ran down there. We're like, what are you talking about, man? So.
Hey, Travis, does this trigger any stories in your head? Is that why you're smiling so much? Is there something that went down that you're not telling us about?
Well, when my cutter went over to the Persian Gulf, I spent 2 weeks on an aircraft carrier.
Yeah.
And really the only places I learned to go were the chow hall, the pisser, and then back to my rack because that was just like a maze. But we had a small SEAL team come on to our cutter. And I woke up, I was the bosun mate of the watch, walked into the chow hall and tripped over some dude's leg. And there's like 24 guys like racked out on the chow hall floor. Like, who the fuck are you guys? Like, oh. It's like, all right.
We're hitching a ride.
Yeah. Well, it was like, all right. Well, one of them fucked up and didn't secure the sponson on the rib properly to the boat, so it deflated. So, but in true squid fashion, you blame the Coast Guard.
Actually, my son's in the Coast Guard, so I can't.
Hey, there you go.
Yeah, he's actually the smart one of us.
What rate?
He's a BM up in Bremerton.
Oh, good deal. Good deal.
Yeah. But he's thinking about getting out and going special warfare, so.
Yeah, Dustin giving you guys some love. People are chiming in here and there, so. Thank the boys. Phil, any stories we were missing out of you? You're going to kick yourself later that you didn't tell that pivotal, ball grabbing story? You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. To be honest, man,
maybe not that story. Not that story. Go to the next.
I got a sphincter pucker story.
Oh, shoot.
Well, good do tell, Brandon.
Well, if you read it that way, you can't speak it.
No, honestly, they were talking about eating lobster and stuff on some of the submarines and stuff. But I remember getting crab legs and stuff. I had to do a TAD on the carrier. I was down in the bakery actually. Had to do my time, So I remember we were making bread and stuff like that, and we'd always do swaps with the galley. We'd always get jalapenos or cheese or something. We'd make some jalapeno cheese bread and stuff, and we'd start swapping it out and trading it with people, And but I remember getting some extra crab legs, man. We'd make a couple loaves of jalapeno cheese bread, and guys in the galley would be like, "Yeah, I'll take a loaf of bread," and we're like, "We'll take some crab legs," So swapping stuff out, how it works, and it was pretty cool. Had a couple UCO guys come rolling through, and they all seemed pretty cool, But other than that, man, I don't have a lot of major stories like you guys do. Shoot.
We watch too many movies. Is that what it is? We anticipate the stories.
Man, yeah, movies were always on. There was always a TV with movies on deck, and a lot of people standing around playing spades or something, But yeah, it was pretty basic. I spent 45 days before I got to port when I went over to the Persian Gulf, and once we got to port in Dubai, it was pretty cool, but it's not the Dubai that it is today. It was just a sand hole, basically. I got to see a nice little sandstorm while I was sitting at the hotel. That was cool. But, yeah, pretty simple, pretty basic. We didn't, nothing major.
It looks like we have a shout out from Mr. Shane Gentry to Mr. Ryan Miller.
Cutting out, man. I didn't hear anything.
Can you hear me?
Yep.
Okay. No, I was just saying we had a question by Shane Gentry.
All right.
Do you have a story for us, Mr. Miller? What that's all
Shane,
about?
Shane, go fuck himself. That's all I gotta say.
Shane, I'll post the link. Just curious if Shane has anything to say.
Hey, Ryan, at least Travis had the decency to ask, can we cuss on this thing?
Oh,
you just come in and drop F-bombs.
I might let it go. It's easier to say you're sorry than ask for permission. Is that what it is?
Hey, sorry for
how's that whole go?
Sorry for saying. I'm gonna say it again. Are we allowed to cuss on this?
Yeah, of course you can.
Oh, okay. Sorry for saying fuck on your podcast.
Right. Viewer discretion is advised. So I'll put the disclaimer on the replay.
Just to clarify, I didn't get to 18 shots. Okay, I think about 3 or 4. Like, this thing's gross. I ain't doing this.
So you guys keep talking about all this really good food. As an Army dog,
No.
The food was not the quality. One of the things that I learned is I was fortunate enough when I went through EOD school. It's a joint service school, so it's Army, Air Force, Marine Corps, and Navy all at the same school, and you're in the same class together. So each class is roughly 25 to 30, and you'll have 3 to 4 of each branch inside of the classroom. So you get to know each other, you get to know a little bit about each other's service a little bit. But when I first started, I started at Redstone Arsenal, Alabama, which is a Army military base. And then from there, so I was eating in the chow hall there, and food was not bad. I mean, it's not mama's cooking, but it was definitely cafeteria style. And we went down to Eglin Air Force Base was my first station after that for the other portion of school. And they put us up. So for those of you who don't know that are listening, I know you guys understand this, but in the military, you typically, if you're lucky, you get a bedroom that has 2 beds. So you're sharing a room with somebody. Yeah. And if you're really lucky, you get a bathroom that shares with another 2 guys. So there's 4 of you, 1 bathroom, and everybody has their own bed. So life's good, but every single day you got to get up and make your bed. You got to clean. You got to vacuum. Everything's got to be looking good before you leave, except for on the weekends. And so I arrive at Eglin Air Force Base, and after going through basic and then going through my first AIT at an Army installation, and they put me up into this place, and the housing's fairly similar. In that I was shared a room with another Army guy. We shared a bathroom with 2 other people. But I woke up the next morning. The next morning was a weekend, and so Wade had a 3-man room.
Ooh,
yeah,
boy.
that's why I said if you're lucky, you have 2 people.
He was a lucky one.
So I wake up. And the next day, after I slept in for a while, good to see you too, Wade. And there's a knock at the door, and come to find out, they had maid service. So they had people who came in and cleaned the rooms every single day, vacuumed, made the beds. This is at an Air Force base.
Of course it is.
They had a dehumidifier inside the room. So because the air conditioning doesn't work real well without the dehumidifier, they would empty that. If you left stuff out, they would put it away for you. It was incredible. So my first little while down there, that's my experience. And then I go to their chow hall, and like you said, they're serving every Friday was steak and lobster or steak and crab night. Right. I'm like, I hadn't had a steak unless it was hamburger steak and gravy with some mushrooms in it, right? Because we just didn't get steak. Yeah, Salisbury steak is what
out
they
of
call
a can.
So then I'm thinking, man, I chose the wrong service. I mean, I really should have chosen the Air Force because they really pamper you. And so then I went up to Indian Head, Maryland, which is a Navy installation, and we got maid service once a week there. It wasn't every day, so it was kind of a downgrade, to be honest with you. But the food was just as damn good. I couldn't get over it. It was one of those things that I was completely shocked how, 3 different military branches, how their chow halls could be so different as far as quality of the food went. It was crazy. Lots of, there's and different traditions too. Like sometimes I found that on the Navy installation, it seemed to be people were a little bit more sloppy, if I could say that. Like just the way they dressed, and it's like in the Army. You know what I'm talking about, Trav?
You can't say sloppy on this show, bro. You can't
Sorry.
say.
Hey,
you can say sloppy.
That's where I draw the line. That's where I draw the line here. Where's my beat button at, huh?
It was just really different seeing firsthand how each installation was so different. The Army side is very, and maybe I shouldn't say sloppy. I should say relaxed, because the Army side was so rigid about everything. There was very specific rules that you had to follow at very specific times and reasons and everything else. The Air Force was like a college campus, where you kind of do whatever the hell you wanted when you wanted. And then the Navy installation was kind of somewhere in between there, where it was a little more relaxed. They had rules, but it was also not as strict.
I think they're disciplined if they thought, I'm going to get a maid. I think there's some discipline in that, though.
Hey, all I know is
I think as long as the job gets done, right?
Right.
All I know is I kept wondering why I chose the Army.
Because you're a dumbass, that's why.
Yeah. Apparently.
Oh, we would work with the Air Force, like PJs and their combat controller guys, and they had a thing like so. They met us in an exercise we did in the Philippines. They're like, "Yeah, we got to change hotels. I'm not getting a square footage I'm allotted at our place." So I go,
I don't have that extra cushion.
And we had a bunch of Marines who were like sleeping in tents, like someplace, and a hurricane's coming. And they're like, "Yeah, I ain't get my square footage."
That's funny.
I can't do push-ups on the floor.
Yeah, try being a SEAL at like an Army base. Like I had my Trident on and stuff. And me and another guy, we're at Free Fall Jump Master School, and I'm standing in line for like the chow hall. I can see in the corner of my eye these guys are like just like looking at us. I can see like, and they're kind of like talking to each other. I'm like, oh god damn it, here it comes. I'm gonna be like, oh excuse me, sir. I'm like, what? And he's like, and like, if you guys don't know what a Trident looks like, it's freaking huge. It's like
Oh,
seal
come on,
badges
show me your
are
tattoos.
big.
You got it.
Oh yeah, it's like that, but here.
Right there.
Not so much here, but here.
Bright and shiny.
Yeah, and so and the guy's like,
It's made
What?
out of a mirror.
yeah.
You're right.
And he goes, and he's like, "What's that?" And like reaches out, like he's gonna touch it. Like what?
Yeah.
And I'm like, whack. I'm like, you fucking touch me, dude. He's like,
Yeah.
I turn around and look around. He's like, and he just stood there like, what do I do? Like, like, who are you guys? I'm like, don't worry about it,
You're
right?
pointing at my chest, huh?
Yeah.
It's like pointing at a sheriff's badge. You just don't do that, man.
Yeah, don't touch me,
Don't
boot.
do that.
Your leg. Very nasty leg. Yeah.
So,
Yeah.
Ryan, you guys, any actual outside the military, but Taft in general stories from the high school to to up and down Center Street? Anything? We always resort to the quad in Center Street. There was always something that goes down. Do you have anything to bring to the table, man?
About high school?
Yeah.
Oh, Jesus.
Give us a saucy one, bro. Come on.
A saucy one?
Give me a good one. Layla's saying hello. She wanted to keep it to the vets, just so you know. She was going to pop on for a moment, but she says, we'll let the vets do their thing. So she wanted to just say hi.
Popping out, going all the...
Hi.
And Phil. I'm sure she had Phil there too, huh?
Partying out in the fields, that was probably the best. Like, no one else I talked to outside of Taft or this region, like, where'd you guys party? Like, oh, we go to someone's house. You're like, oh, yeah, we just go to some pumping unit out in the field and just, like, what was it? Kokomo was one. The Spot.
We were
that was
talking about that a
original.
couple of weeks ago. There's like 30 different names. I go, I never went to those other ones. I mean, how many spots were there? I thought there was like 5, and there was about 30 of them or something like that.
Yeah.
I didn't get out enough.
Shane told the story the other night of how we figured out how to turn one on, and it would like just go up and down. We'd climb up on it and sit on it while it was just going up and down. And then one night I just like stood on the very end of it while I was going up and down. I was just like, and
You didn't bust a backflip or anything off the thing, or no?
No,
Going to a forward roll?
Well, I learned don't do a backflip when you're drunk. I did that in Seattle. Yeah, we were training up there one time. This guy comes up, he's like, hey, man, here's a picture of me doing a backflip off a wall. Give me $1 and I'll do it. And I'm like, fuck that. And I tried to do it on the street. I just did a backflip and landed like right on my face.
Would you have done the parkour thing if you would have known about it back then?
When I was like 50 pounds lighter than I am now, probably.
Yeah.
I think there's a whole list of things not to do while you're drunk.
Yeah, that's all.
Well, don't do it in front of a bunch of your SEAL buddies because they're gonna grab plants and flowers and whatever is on the street and like throw it on you, and then like just dogpile you, and yeah.
It's all out of love.
I learned my lesson. I didn't do that again.
That's so funny.
Yeah. No, like, every once in a while a song would come on. I remember like, oh yeah, we're in the quad. Listen to that. That was fun. You know, football nights. That's always fun.
That's Shane chiming in over here. Oil well parkour.
Yeah.
Oh yes.
Also, I saw. You guys know Matt Bell, or Mike Bell.
Mike Bell, yeah.
Yeah, he was in my class. And sometime between me joining the Navy, we came home. It was like it had to be during Christmas or something because we got hammered with a bunch of people and decided they were going to climb the light towers at the football field.
Oh, geez.
So we climbed up that, and
I never had that thought.
You want to rush? Go ahead and do that. So climb it up, and like they're super cold. And I'm like halfway up, going, "This is probably not a great fucking idea." And we get all the way top, so we're hanging out there, and security walks below us.
Oh,
it just happens to stop and hang out. And I'm like, so we wait and wait.
Did they see you yet, or they just saw you waiting?
No, they didn't see us at all.
Okay.
They didn't wait. They don't look up. Like, who the fuck's crazy enough to climb up that thing?
Yeah.
So they move far enough away, so we climb down real quick, and they see us coming down. So we had to jump over the fence, ran across the football field, the other side, and up the other side, and finally ditched them. But
who are you with? Who's accomplice?
Mike Bell.
Mike Bell.
I saw him at our reunion last year, or this year.
Was he related to Chad Bell, or were they just two totally different bells?
Two different bells.
Totally different.
Total different bells. Never mind.
So,
We're from Taft, so you never know. Small town.
So looking back on it, I'm like, well, kind of certain things that personalities you have that lead you over to life. And so Mike like sails around the world and does all that kind of crazy shit, and I went and became a SEAL. So
there you go. There you go. What's going on, Mr. Baker? Mr. Hutton? When was it when you went to military? Is that whenever you went from Baker to Hutton?
Yeah, when I joined the Army. Yeah. My stepfather hadn't legally adopted us, so I had to revert back to the given name. So,
gotcha.
and I just stuck with it. I never liked that fucking cocksucker anyways.
Fair enough.
Well then.
Yeah,
I'm glad you're over the relationship.
So in the private area, Trav, you can really tell us how you feel.
Yeah, right. No, you can tell us. It's all right, man.
I thought this was a private area. Dude, there is no ceiling. Ryan's already broken it.
We're on the roof. We're on the roof right now, huh?
I said fuck, and Brandon said sloppy or whatever.
He didn't say sloppy. It's just not right, man.
That's what he meant.
I'll throw a little Charlie Sierra.
I got wait, hold on a sec. I got a caption for you guys, so you can guys go ahead. I think I wrote something out for you here. There you go. Go ahead. Feel free to say whatever.
Does not endorse it.
Whatever you want to say. I'm with you guys. I'm at home. I'm watching. I had no military experience, so I'm just watching. Go ahead, guys.
I'll give you guys a good one.
Yeah, I thought ahead on you guys. I knew it. I knew it was going to eventually happen.
What?
Go ahead.
All right.
Here it is.
So the cutter that I'm on met up with a carrier group down in San Diego. Yeah, so we're doing all the train ups down there with all the Navy guys. So we go to Hawaii for our first stop for TISTA, and it's like a on-ship training thing. So my buddy Sean and I are talking with a couple of Navy guys. They're like ETs, FTs. I think that's what they're called in the Navy, like the gunners, the deck gunners. So we go to the Hale, and oh yeah, and of course there's copious amounts of beer. So we're on like the 9th floor, and there's a bunch of kids being jackasses playing rap, shit like that. It's like 2:00 in the morning. So we're on the balcony. We're like, hey, little gunfire practice? Like, oh yeah. So the Navy guys know how to call like naval gunfire, artillery fire, close air support. Me being in the Army and being artillery, whatever. So we start launching beer bottles at these bastards from like 9 stories up. Like, pa, 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 pa.
What?
Yeah, oh yeah. Yeah, didn't catch any of them. Came close. Yeah. So we're all done. We go back inside, crack open a couple other beers. About 5 minutes later, 5 of the biggest fucking Samoan dudes you've ever seen knock on the door. And it wasn't even my room or my buddy that, we showed up there. It was these other 3 guys that had rented it. So the Samoans come in and they start talking to them, and we beat it like freaking 007, like down like back stairs, all the like through back alleys, like dun 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 dun. Well, we ended up falling asleep on the beach. Just saying like, fuck it, we're not going back to this boat. I'm just going to sleep on the beach. And that was how the night ended up.
There you go.
But gunfire.
No casualties. So we're good.
No casualties. But dude, those fucking Samoans were big. I
don't think I've ever met a small one.
They don't make them. I like they make small ones.
When they're
When
babies.
they're young. When they're young, yeah.
Yeah.
They're
Pretty
actually
much.
pretty good size when they're babies, though, too. So I don't know if I've categorized that one.
So our cruise ships down in Australia, because Australians' favorite pastime is drinking and fighting on the cruise ships. So our night guys, they hire like these big Maori rugby players for our night guards. And like, well, I was talking to one of the security officers one time. He's like, "Oh yeah, this one guy's his hands are so big that they're so fat. It's like a catcher's mitt, but he can't like it's so big he can't pick up like a pin. Like if you put a pin on the table, he can't grab it because his fingers are so fat." And like,
we can't talk about Samoans without talking about Joe Laulu. I know Brandon knows who I'm talking about. Remember Big Old Joe? Remember Joe?
When I was a cop, I pulled over Joe one time and realized it was him.
Oh wow! Okay.
Well, I was talking on his cell phone so like downtown. I pulled around, pull him over. I come walking up, and he sees me. He's like, "Oh, Ryan! Oh, his big hand like grabbed me by the face." So I was like,
he was so big, man.
Yeah, I'm like, Joe.
Like barbecue fingered hands. Like there's so much meat in those fingers. You know what I mean? Like swallowed my whole hand. I go, no, let go. Before
I hadn't seen Joe in like 20-something years, and he's crying. I go, what's wrong, Joe? He's like, "Oh, my wife is leaving me. I'm so sad right now." I'm like, "Okay, dude, just hang up your phone for now and go on or park."
Yeah.
He's like, oh, it's good to see you. I'm like, "Holy shit, Joe!" Like he got big, like bigger.
You really? Whatever happened to him? You know?
No,
besides pulling him over.
It's like it's got to be like 6 years ago now. I don't know.
Gotcha. Oh man, you know what he used to call me?
What?
He used to call me Spud Webb. He never used to call me by my actual name. He would say Spud Webb. I don't think he knew my name. He would always call me Spud Webb. Yeah, Spud Webb. I don't know. He was strong though, man. I heard he was working in the oil fields and he was able to bend pipe. They were trying to see if he could bend some pipe or something like that. Maybe that's just old wives' tale or something. But I've always heard that he had that type of crazy strength.
Oh, I remember when our senior year when he showed up and like we were hanging out with the volleyball player, the JV team was practicing volleyball, and he's like, set me up, and he came out and just like spiked it, and it went straight like a laser beam came down, and these poor girls like just like they're all like scattered like a bullet was coming
here's
at him.
Here's a cannon, bam!
It was like
oh, man.
like he's been playing beach volleyball and he had got over that net and it was just like he just swatted that thing and they just dove. It was hilarious. I was like,
we just
bro,
need to
like
have a boy and throw him in the UFC and see what happens, huh?
Yeah, he's a big boy.
What happened to Brandon? Brandon, we lost him. He was in and out. Oh wow. Well, guys, we're gonna do this again on Saturday. Is he back? He's back. I was just gonna shut her down. Look at he's back.
Yeah, I gotta take off though, man. I got dinner coming.
Yeah, guys. Hey, Brandon, you back, brother? There he is.
Yeah, I was having some problems with my headphones and battery and everything else, so I'm back though.
Gotcha. Well, hey, we were just going to shut her down. I'm going to do this again on Saturday if you guys are up for jumping on and seeing some people that maybe you haven't seen in a while. And I know with Ryan and Travis, man, and Phil, all three of you guys I haven't seen forever. It would say the magic of technology.
Yeah, this is dope, man. This was fun.
Yeah.
Hey,
well, good.
Till Bill Holla, gentlemen. Till Bill Holla.
Wait, I got to have some outro music. Hold on 1 second.
Oh.
Check this out. I got some outro music.
Wow, this is like high speed and shit.
You'll like this one. It's my military edition. Listen, here we go. Ready? That's my outro. That's what I have. See? No? All right, I'll work on it. I'll work on it. I'll work on it just for this one. Maybe next year we'll do the same thing. It never gets old, 18. All right, guys. Yeah, appreciate you guys' your service and have a great rest of your day, man.
Great.
Thank you, guys.
Well,
All right, guys.
Later, man.